Welcome to some new r/petty revenge stories, where people share small victories over those that wronged them. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Stop Slacking. This happened a few years ago. Insurance companies are not your friends and will do everything they can to save money, including not paying you for your medically necessary services. There's a lot of news coming out about insurance companies using algorithms to deny claims and doctors signing off on them. Before algorithms, they would have minimum wage employees reading over these claims for the doctors instead. That's what I was. I was 19 years old, working for an insurance company denying claims. I would be the first line for doctors to call and give their case for why they thought they needed a service or medicine. For some reason, 19 years old me with no medical experience was allowed to tell these doctors that services were not needed medically. This was the easiest yet most miserable job experience I ever had. I was only able to last a few months there. During my last 2 weeks, I was really slacking off. I was just so burnt out. I couldn't stand denying yet another case where someone needed meds and the insurance company didn't want to pay for them. I was reprimanded for not working hard enough and getting processed. I worked faster than I ever had before. That's because I approved every case that came before me. Every doctor I spoke to, I just gave them approval. Every prior authorization I saw was approved. During my first week, I did this once and was told to not do it again because I have to follow company guidelines, but I didn't care at this point. I probably was able to approve 50 plus cases before I quit. I hope it made a difference to those people. Screw those health insurance companies. The next story is called Soft Drinks. I worked as a delivery driver and op jobs doer for a well-known pizza chain in my teens. I was always on our close, and as part of the close we needed to lock doors, turn off most lights, the oven and the open sign out the front. One shift, as we were closing, we forgot to turn off the open sign, and a Karen barged in and demanded we had to serve her as the open sign was on. Informed her the oven was off and wouldn't warm up before we left. Still, she insisted. Food service laws in Australia prevented us from selling anything uncooked for the risk of food poisoning. So I offered to serve her by selling anything that we didn't need to cook, which was soft drinks. And only soft drinks. Any and all soft drinks she wanted. All the soft drinks in the world. She stormed out shortly after buying no soft drink. The third story is called Claiming the Report. I'm working for a pretty big company with lots of departments and lots of "we are the best" talk. And we really are. Core values are followed pretty well, and major issues get dealt with quite well, apart from my boss, who we will call Gail. She's a micromanager, to say the least, and a workaholic, who expects you to do a lot, but never outside of your normal shift, since she thought overtime was the devil for us hourly workers. The first Malicious Compliance was Gail tasking me with this monthly report to hand up the chain to Mandy, who was a pretty big deal. The report was intensive and very in-depth, so it took a lot of unpaid overtime to learn and get it down. Gail did not appreciate it and questioned what I was doing as to why I was taking so long, as learning something out of my scope was not too appropriate. Mandy and I got to know each other well and developed a great working relationship, which certainly benefited me as much as it could. We were generations and countries apart, no romantics. Gail found out Mandy was asking me questions about my sites and for some reason didn't take it too kindly. She informed me that any and all communication from myself to Mandy must go through her, Gail, including this report. Thankfully, Gail has a company-wide reputation for being a bit cray-cray, so I could hear Mandy roll her eyes on the phone the first time Gail sent her the report, rather than I. I had told Mandy that Gail knew very little about this report, especially the most important part. I said 2 specific questions would likely have her forward those questions to me to answer. So of course those 2 very specific questions were brought up, but not by email. It was on a big call of bigwigs just as I happened to step out of the office and was unable to field quick questions from Gail over the computer. The feedback was nothing but a roasting for Gail, as she had of course said the report was hers initially, and thus the report was taken away from Gail and me altogether. This upset Gail, so she hammered back why I didn't do other work while I was learning this report. Over 6 months had passed and I had it down to an absolute science that took no time to update. She asked me to begin logging everything I do every day. Due to other factors in this job, HR was already looped in on everything that was going on between Gail and me, so this was as well. As you can already guess, the long story short is, this log was filled out to the minute, after every task, phone call or anything I did, including time for filling out the log. The amount of detail I put in for this log, Gail wanted as much detail as possible, allowed for me to actually spend 2 to 3 minutes filling out this log for even the smallest task, even for a passerby at my office door, asking me a quick yes-no question. I loved it. This, unfortunately, didn't allow me to complete all my normal tasks daily. By the end of the first week, I had quite a pile of additional work. Gail, myself and HR got on a call to discuss all this after the week. HR obviously sided with me and told Gail to either push work off me to someone else or get rid of this log that showed I was skipping breaks. Good thing I wrote the log. These weekly calls also got me a separate payment for an estimated but realistic amount of unpaid overtime. Good guy HR. Despite HR making my life a lot easier, Gail did not. So I made the decision to switch departments entirely. Zero carryover. Within 2 months of my switch, the entire department was functionalized with a few other departments due to creating a better balance of work to employee. It changed the job scope of all my former colleagues entirely, and it coincidentally rendered Gail's job useless. She was pushed to a special projects role for a year, where special projects then magically ended, and she was let go. My new manager likes to send emails out to those under him who were promoted. She was able to see 2 of those with my name on it, the second just days before her final one. The last story is called Made It Optional. I'm a hotel housekeeper. It was a pretty busy day and almost all of the rooms had to be stripped. We had 2 carts for dirty laundry. My boss is pretty insistent on sorting the laundry before it goes to get put through the cleaning process. Sorting the laundry and here separating the towels and everything that's not towels into the 2 dirty baskets. It was pretty busy and there was lots of laundry, but I still had to sort them. Initially I tried taking the towels out and swapping them all into one basket while putting everything else into the other. After a while I realized that this method would probably take hours at best. I got the idea to take everything out, sort them into 2 piles, then put them back in. So I did. The pile of towels was medium-sized at best. The pile of everything not towels, however, was nearly up to the ceiling. I put them back into their respective baskets and found that the stack of not towels was in fact taller than me, and I'm over 6 feet tall. About this time the manager walks in and says, verbatim, "What the heck did you do?" Exactly what you told me to do. My manager is barely 5 feet tall and couldn't hope to reach the top of the stack. The person who comes in when I leave is also very short. Speaking of which, it's my time to go. Have fun, I said, as I clocked out. As I walked out, I heard another, "What the heck?" This time from the poor employee who came in and saw my handiwork. Apparently, she had to stand on a chair to reach the top, which would not have happened if I wasn't told to sort it. The best part was that I couldn't be blamed, because, well, I did what I was told. But it doesn't stop there. She demanded that I call my 6'5" friend and co-worker to help. Too bad he specifically requested that day and the next few after that to go on vacation with his girlfriend. Talk about bad timing. Since then, sorting the laundry has been optional for housekeepers. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel for more content. Let me know what you think about the stories in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.